I know you're dealing with a lot, but I'm here. We're here. Together.
Can you hickory-dickory shut the hell up?
So the pilot for Gameoverse just dropped, and it's rough, to say the least. Let's talk about it. And before anyone tries to strawman saying I'm only hating on the show, there were some things I liked and will be praising accordingly. But this is a very rough pilot pitch, or I guess the inevitable rebranding to episode 1, as is the case with all Glitch shows so far. Which, actually, let's touch on real quick. A pilot episode is a pitch, not the first official episode of the full series. The pilot usually transforms into the first episode after the series gets picked up by whatever studio wants them. Often polished or even slightly changed, and then put back out there as the first official episode. Take Gravity Falls, for example. The first official episode you can watch right now is not what the pilot looked like. Yes, it plays out similarly, but there are significant changes once the series was greenlit. Glitch seems to think that the pilot episodes of their shows that exist right now are the first official episodes of Season 1, which isn't how a pilot works. With shows like The Amazing Digital Circus, where they only get one season, this then retroactively wastes precious time for character and world development because you've already allocated an episode slot to something that was created way before any official episodes existed. For example, in 2019, NBC ordered 14 pilots to be made for their new season. Out of those, they picked up 8 to air on their network, and one of them was sold to ABC. The rest never aired. If they like the pilot, they will pick it up and order more episodes. If they don't, they might try to sell the show to another network. But usually the show just dies and the pilot goes into the vaults, never to be seen by the public. If a pilot is particularly expensive, they might even try to turn it into a movie and sell it that way. But this is pretty rare. Over the years, thousands of pilots have been made with full casts and crews and never made it to air. A pilot is made in isolation, kind of like a movie. It'll often be filmed on location to avoid the expense of constructing sets that might only be used once, or animated with a small team to save resources. If the pilot is picked up as a series, these locations will be recreated on a soundstage, which is why things often look slightly different in a show's second episode. Or it'll be animated in-house, or by an external, most likely overseas team. When a pilot wraps, the cast and crew are under contract to continue with the show if it gets picked up, but they go their separate ways until a decision is made by the network, usually looking for other work in the meantime. I'm not saying I know the specifics of any contracts within Gameoverse's team, but that's usually how it goes. Because pilots themselves are very expensive to make, if a show is picked up, the pilot is almost always used as the show's first episode. But there are some examples where this isn't the case, and the pilot episode is scrapped and a new first episode is filmed when the series production begins. Sometimes characters need to be recast, sometimes things like look or tone need adjusting. Game of Thrones' pilot episode was famously a bit of a disaster, and when HBO had ordered it to series, it was almost entirely reshot, with only a few scenes of the pilot making it into the first episode. Sometimes a show is ordered straight to series, which is becoming more and more common these days. Netflix does this a lot, with The Witcher being a recent example, but it's always happened. A network can get so enthusiastic about a script, or sometimes just an idea or pre-existing IP that they've bought, or a hot new talent that they've signed to work with them, that they can forego the pilot process entirely and order a show series right off the bat, knowing it'll make a lot of money. Either way, a pilot is the sample episode made for the network that is sometimes used as the first episode of a show. The first episode of a show is not necessarily the pilot. Lots of shows don't have a pilot to begin with. But here, Glitch is specifically calling it a pilot, so I'm going to hold it to that standard. And with the previously established pattern by The Amazing Digital Circus, Murder Drones, and Sunset Paradise, it's safe to bet that they'll do it again here. Another bit of a misunderstanding I've noticed on how things work is the context of this series. We see in the first half of the episode that Kit and Kabooble have rescued a character by the name of Gobbles. Now, we never actually see what went down on Gobbles' game planet in the actual episode, nor any proper recounting of events. But you know where we do see that? A 3-month-old trailer. In the first half of the pilot's trailer, we see these events unfold, which is a bit of a problem because I wouldn't have known to look there if I didn't start googling around to find this information. That's kinda key to knowing why Gobbles is so shook in this episode. Similar problem with our main protagonist Kit, but with even less information present. The opening of this episode shows Kit battling the villain of her world, and successfully defeating her. This results in her world being destroyed, as are the rules of the Gameoverse. If the villain of a planet gets defeated by the hero, the planet is destroyed. Kit witnesses this firsthand and gets PTSD from it, as anyone in her position would. She calls out to her village as it's destroyed, and I feel nothing. Like, I feel bad for her, but that's it. I can easily move on from that feeling because I don't know any of the villagers. Hell, we don't even know their names apart from Scratch, and that's only because of the subtitles. They're never actually named in the show itself. That's kind of an important thing to have, a reason for us, the audience, to be able to emotionally connect to a character and their struggles or losses. I can't fully get invested in the stakes of a character's journey if I don't even know who or what they're fighting for. I know Kit is fighting to stop this from happening to others, sure, but I don't know why she cares so much, because we don't know the people she loved. We don't know their names, personalities, or anything. They're blank slates, and that's weak writing to motivate a character. We're introduced to them, and then they're dead within the same 5-minute time span. I do hope they develop Kit's PTSD more in the full series. Maybe that'll fix the issue. I don't know. Speaking of character development, Gobbles.
How did you get like this?
Get like what?
I don't know. Courageous? Uplifting? You were so nervous before.
I'm a learnosaurus, Kit. That's what I do. I learn. From the world around me, from flappers, and from you.
So he just casually fulfilled his character arc in this episode? So where do we go from here?
Good question.
Because unless you want to regress his character, which would be a bad idea anyway, there's not really anywhere else for him to go. You wasted an entire season's worth of Gobbles' development on your pilot. Well done. This should have introduced his struggle with that arc, but not yet solved it. I do really like the art style though. The blend of many different game genres is cool as hell. The Mario World map when Kit is traveling around, all the various references during the end credits sequence, it's all good stuff. Also, the attention to detail with Kit's tail clipping through the chair is a nice touch, so well done. Keep those coming. Kit is the only proper VA in the cast as far as I can tell, and it shows. Erica Lindbeck was acting circles around Jschlatt and Aaron Hansen. Yes, Jschlatt is in this, and he voices the character of Caboodle. I'm sorry, but that casting choice paired with the minimal voice effects for his robot character just completely breaks the immersion for me. He literally sounds the same as if I were watching one of his Jschlatt Reacts videos. It's too similar.
Leave me alone, Freddie Mercury! You're supposed to be dead! Serious? The emergency shields aren't working! Kid, hop up here! I gotta see what's wrong!
And Gobbles isn't any better, but more so on the line delivery. Aaron does this gravelly voice with the same inflections, and it just doesn't work long-term for me when listening to any scene with Gobbles, especially that one speech where he bypasses his character arc.
Oh, yes, just learning. So what now? Oh, jeez. Come on, Gobbles. Kit wouldn't hesitate. Ah! Kit, listen! I know you're dealing with a lot, but I'm here. We're here. Together. There's still so much we can do. You're too hard on yourself, Kit. None of this is your fault. None of anything you ever did is your fault. All you ever wanted to do was save people. Well, there's still time. We can still do something.
Will you shut the hell up?
Let's see. Who's the voice director for this? Oh, well, that's awkward. No excuse why it's bad then. Shout out to my goat Snappers, though. You will be missed. Also, I like how this character on the poster never shows up once in the pilot. I can't lie, this show has a cool premise, and a really neat way in-universe of stopping the main characters from just telling others about the world deletion problem. Essentially, if, and as demonstrated in this pilot on Flapper's World, Kit or anyone tells a character about their game's win condition, the world freezes to static, and these giant evil deletion scanners appear and will delete any outsider caught in their beam. Cool, right? I agree. But then they just stop when they're about to find Kit. Why? Who knows? They never actually explain that, which is a contrivance, and that sucks. You had a cool thing going, and then you just got rid of it. Why? Misinformation can step on me. I really liked the space fight sequence. It was cool with the arcade style and Misinformation acting as a tutorial NPC. It's a neat in-universe thing that keeps the world feeling grounded for what it is. I've seen a lot of online discourse surrounding Kit and her design. Of course, it was all from Twitter, so take their complaints with a bucket of salt. From your toxic shippers who never shut the fuck up, to people complaining about character designs, etc., the gang's all here. There is one complaint that I do agree with, and that is the female characters' designs. They're literally all the same body type. Slim hourglass build. I've seen people try to use two background characters as a defense for this, but no. One is a slug and one is a crab. You're being disingenuous if you think that's what the complaint is about. All humanoid female characters here share the same build. It's kinda weird. Not every female on the planet is built like that. Hell, realistically, barely any are, and yet these are the designs. Whether or not this was the intention, it does have underlying misogynistic vibes to it. Eye candy, if you will. There was this one complaint I saw about Kit's suit transformation scene, saying it only focused on her boobs, etc. Hey, buddy. Firstly, that's where a chest plate is located, so if you're gonna show a chest plate appearing, guess where you're gonna focus on for a shot of said chest plate to appear. Also, that sequence is a very obvious reference to your classic anime transformation scenes. It's pretty on the nose, so let's maybe not try to argue about that when there are plenty of valid things to critique about this pilot. There was even more discourse on the sequence where Kit was cycling through her various outfits, and again, why? People were calling it goon slop, and I'm so tired of hearing that word be thrown around with no substance behind it. No, a female character existing is not goon slop. If you're that porn brain that seeing a female character's skin makes you horny, then I don't know what to tell you other than that you may have a problem. Apparently, this project pitch was turned down by 11 studios before Glitch picked it up, and yeah, I can see why. Usually, if your project is continuously getting shot down, you think maybe to tweak a few things or make some changes to the plot or whatever it may be. But nope, keeping it the same pitch after pitch is certainly a choice. I really hope this show gets better and it's fleshed out more, but I don't know if I'm going to keep tabs on it. This felt like a pretty big miss for me. I just don't vibe with the show. It feels like something you'd see Saber Spark unironically watch. Oh, god damn it!